What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and welcome to another Ask Alain, where I take your questions directly from my Facebook fan page and answer them right here in one of these videos. If you want to get your questions answered, head over to facebook.com/Muscle Monsters. Like the page, and next time I post a status stating that it's question time, leave your question and I'll answer it here. So without further ado, let's jump right in. First question comes from Patrick. When is it best to use a lifting belt versus when to go without? For me personally, it just depends on the intensity I'm training at, right? So if I'm training, let's say for example, 75 to 80% of my 1 rep max or higher, then I'm gonna wear a lifting belt. Anything below that, probably not going to need it. Now, another thing I want to mention is the reason you're wearing it, right? The reason I'm wearing it is because it helps creating that intra-abdominal pressure, keep the core tight when you're performing these big, heavy lifts. Now, some people say that you shouldn't always use them when training heavy because it takes away from your ability to build that core strength, but I completely disagree. Training heavy with or without a belt is going to increase your core strength significantly. However, like I said before, I do recommend that if you are under about 80 or 75 to 80% of your 1 rep max, you probably shouldn't or don't need to wear a lifting belt. All right? Next question. Oh, same guy, right? Patrick, you got 2 questions. Any value in adding cardio to a routine to speed up fat loss, whether it's high intensity interval training or easy steady state? Yeah, absolutely. But what you have to remember is that cardio is simply a tool that you're going to use in order to further put you into a caloric deficit, right? So let's say you're cutting, you're on X amount of calories, and your weight loss stalls. At that point, you have 2 choices. You can either continue to decrease your caloric intake, or you can increase your physical activity, right? So you would add either another cardio session, or you would lengthen your current cardio sessions, all right? Next comes from Nico. I'm, as I told you, currently using your program, eating 6 times a day, but is it bad to use weight gainers? All right, if you're on one of my programs, then you should know that you have a certain amount of macronutrients that you need to hit, fats, carbs, and protein that you need to reach for the day, not including micronutrients and fiber for the sake of this video, but you have those numbers. Now, if you cannot hit those numbers using just solid food, then yes, it's totally fine to use a weight gainer to assist in reaching those numbers. Now, it's not going to do anything special. It's not going to do anything negative or positive in terms of muscle growth, aside from helping you achieve those numbers. Next question, William Lopez. How long did it take you to know your body and what kind of training it responds to, or are you still learning? All right, William, this is a very common misconception by people, and they think that different people respond to different types of training differently. And although that might be slightly true, the science behind building muscle and burning fat is the same for everyone, right? What it's going to come down to is, number 1, how do you enjoy training? And number 2, what are your goals? Because those 2 things are going to dictate the approach that you take in the gym. In terms of what your body responds to, everybody is the same, right? Progression leads to hypertrophy as long as we're hitting our macronutrients. And that's just me oversimplifying it, but you get the gist. Right? So it's not more so about learning my body, it's about learning the body in general. Next question comes from Josh May. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? All right, this is actually a topic that I did an entire video on, which I'll try to link below if I remember. But just to give you a brief rundown, intermittent fasting is simply a tool, right? There's no magic that happens from not eating for X amount of hours and then eating for a small window, right? The only thing that it is going to do for some people is help with not overeating, right? So what a lot of people find is that when they're limited to a smaller window, where what they would call a feeding window, which I hate the term, by the way, is that it allows them to eat less for the day. So they're getting less total calories because, again, they only have that small window where they can eat. Now, it is still possible to follow intermittent fasting and get fat or to build muscle, right? Because it all boils down to your total caloric intake and your macronutrient breakdown. So if someone's intermittent fasting, but they're still eating in a caloric surplus, this person is still going to build muscle or gain weight. And someone who is intermittent fasting, who's ultimately in a caloric deficit, is going to lose fat. The same amount of fat that they would lose if they were following the same diet or hitting the same numbers without intermittent fasting. All right, so nothing special there. It's just a great tool for some people to avoid overeating. All right, next question comes from VJ McVanna. What do you recommend to take other than protein supplements and creatine? That really sums it up. If you don't get a lot of fish in your diet, maybe start throwing in 2 to 3 grams of fish oil. And if you need something to help with your performance in the gym, then there are some pre-workouts that do have ingredients that have been shown to help increase performance. But other than that, the creatine and the whey protein or a protein supplement in general should be more than enough. And then last comes from Dan. Good day, Alain. Awesome channel, always informative, without too much crap. So there's just a little bit of crap. All right. Like you, I'm a morning gym goer at the door by 6 a.m. My question is, should I eat most of my carbs by lunchtime, or does it not matter? It doesn't matter, right? We want to use our carbs as fuel for our workout, if and only if we need them, right? I used to train fasted because I found that when I would go to the gym on an empty stomach, my performance didn't take a hit. Lately, though, I have been getting a small snack. Now, this is going to be completely up to the individual, right? If you feel weak or tired at the gym, and then maybe adding some carbs in before your workout would be ideal. Now, anything after that, for the remainder of the day, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that you hit that total carb intake for the day, right? So whether you hit it all in the morning to the afternoon or throughout the day, doesn't make a bit of a difference. Guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button below. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.